Last Sunday was our final service at Tipton Family Church. We closed down due to the fact that the building that we used was also being made redundant, and we all lived geographically quite widespread, and it was a small church anyway, so we decided to fold as well. Right, the hunt for a new church begins. Although I am a minister, nevertheless, I'm also, more importantly, a Christian. And so whatever the future holds in terms of ministry, the most important thing is that we find a church that we can call our spiritual home. And that journey begins this morning. Back from church, get changed, and I'm on my way after tench. Got my rod there over my back in a quiver, so travelling quite light, not a lot of gear, small rucksack, and then down there got the net, a tub of brown crumb and my chair. Let's see if I can catch my target species this afternoon. Got about 3-4 hours, depends how long I want to stay for. My bait's in the water. I've always got a chance, and the bait on this occasion will be sweet corn. I haven't been here very long at all. A beautiful pull round on the quiver tip. I'll show you my setup later. A nice fight, but I was the winner at the end of it. And there it is. It's a nice tench, isn't it? Beautiful fish. I've just put some more bait out. What I did on arrival, I mixed a couple of decent balls that size and got those out there. Probably about 4 lengths from the bank. Water's quite deep as well. This is the deeper end of the pool. And I waited to see what response I would get. It's important when you fish not to put too much out at the start. Remember that you can always put more into the water if you want to, but once it's out there you can't bring it back. And it's always good to gauge where the fish are at. Now I know that, well, there was one feeding at least. It's a quiet day as well, fairly still, so I should be able to see some feeding bubbles in due course. I just put another couple of balls of bait out there. So the idea is to think, to gauge, to test the water, so to speak. How many tench are out there? Are they feeding well? Are the roach perhaps that are picking up the corn as well? Because I did have a little tap just before I hooked into that tench. And once you get the idea, then you can feed the swim accordingly. That's important, isn't it? Right, let's see if I can add to my tally of 1 tinker. Another one in the net, on the bank, and in front of the iPhone. I'm fishing with a Barbel Special quiver tip rod. It's an Akuma reel. It needs a bit more line on actually, it's just slipped below the spool. But that's 6 pounds Maxima Chameleon, and that goes right the way through. And I've got a size 10 Drennan Super Specialist hook on there and a grain of corn. It's a 1/2 ounce lead, and that's just right for tightening up, because you want to be in touch with what's happening out there, but at the same time you don't want weight that's going to be too heavy that the fish will detect when they pick up the bait. So on this water, the depth that I'm fishing in, the distance from the bank, everything else taken into account, that's perfect. And I've created the hook length. You can see the slime there. That's what tench bring, isn't it, to the party. Plenty of slime. I've got a small shot and then a small bead just above that. Simplicity in itself. I've said that a few times, haven't I? But it works, and that is always the most important thing. There's nothing wrong with tinkering with your rigs, developing them, etc. But keep it nice and simple to start with, and only begin to develop things if they need to be developed. Otherwise, you can find yourself sometimes getting caught up in rigs when in fact the simple things are often the ones that put the fish on the bank.